All right, you guys, I am super excited. I have a very dear friend and like brilliant, genius person when it comes to Facebook ads and marketing in general, Adrienne Richardson with us. So I'm very excited to share this with you. She is talking to us today about some stuff with email and some other stuff. But before I let her talk, I'm going to give you just a little bit of history with Adrienne. So when I first met Adrienne, she was a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie. And she's going to get a little embarrassed when I say that because she is truly one of the people that like, the more I get to know her, the more I love her. Like, it's like some people you get to know more and you're like, but Adrienne is the opposite of that. So I'm excited to share her wisdom with you and her brilliance because she has been great for me. I've been part of her Power Players Club, which is her Facebook ads group. It's a membership that I belong to help me run my ads. Because as you know, because I put it in my emails and all this good stuff, I run ads for my self-liquidating offer, which is relationship and revenue. I also run some other kinds of ads, and Adrienne and I are going to talk about those because she has advised me. So with that very kind of awkward introduction for you, it was great for me, but it's probably awkward for you. Welcome, Adrienne, to everyone that's going to be watching this. So
thank you. Thank you, Monica. And I just have to say that you are such an amazing person that the same thing, the more time I spend with you, the more I enjoy you. And everybody needs like a Monica type friend who just always lifts them up and makes them feel so great. So thank you for your kind words.
Well, same back at you, friend. So, and I love that we are also both, pretty smart about this digital marketing game because I'm not super humble about that. Like, we're both pretty awesome. So let's
fun to talk about. Yes. So we speak the same language.
Yes. So Facebook ads, I know really scare a lot of people because they're afraid they're going to lose money. They've heard horror stories of, ad agencies taking all their money and all of that fun stuff. So I would love to share a few simple ways we could start with Facebook ads that are not so scary. And one of the ways that I know that you know how to do that is with using using Facebook ads to boost your email open rates. So can you share a little bit about how to do that and why we would do that and all the good stuff?
Yeah, I'm always trying to think outside of the box and think about how can I use Facebook ads to complement or boost what I'm already doing. And if you're doing any kind of organic marketing, whether it's on social media or you're doing email marketing, Facebook ads just complement those so well and make all of those things work better. And I find because they help to keep you top of mind, right? I love email marketing, but we all know that not every email gets delivered to their inbox. Not every email gets opened. And so Facebook ads often will work as a reminder for people like, oh yeah, I got that email from Monica. I need to go check that out, right? And so anytime you're running Facebook ads, it's just going to complement and help boost the other organic type things you're doing and your email marketing. And so I had, I don't know, a year ago or so, someone come to me to say, is there any way to use Facebook ads to actually help my emails like get opened more or more people read them? And I was like, that's a good question. Let me think about that. And so I started working on a strategy and testing some things. And this is probably going to feel a little too simple or like a little bit weird. But it is an outside of the box type way of thinking to use ads to actually, two things I want to share with you is one is how to get more people opening your emails through Facebook ads. And then number two, how to get more people to read those wonderful emails that you spent so much time and effort writing that, maybe 20, 30% open up and the other 70% never even saw it. So those are two things that I want to share is how to use ads to get more people opening and use ads to get more eyeballs on.
Amazing. So let's start with the first one, which is of course getting more people to open because and just as a side note, if you don't already know, you've heard me say this, but Apple has messed with open rates. So I won't go into detail, but your open rates kind of can't be trusted anymore. So whichever way your open rates went, some went up, some went down, depending on the software that you're using. But either way, this tactic Adrienne's about to share with you is a easy way to get started with Facebook ads, low budget, and it will increase your open rate. So share your secrets.
So the first thing you have to do is upload your email list to Facebook. Okay. So it has to be an audience that you upload. You export it out of your CRM, upload it to Facebook. Facebook typically can only match about 50% of them ish, sometimes more, sometimes less. So you want to make sure you have an email list of at least, 1,000 to 2,000 people if you're going to use this strategy. If you're not there yet, then just tuck this in your back pocket and use it later when you hit that number. But what I do is I send an email out to my list. And then I create an ad that says, hey, I just sent an email out about X, Y, and Z. So I just sent out an email with the 10 things I'm doing right now with Facebook that's crushing. If you didn't see it, go to your inbox now and search for the subject line blank, right? Whatever the subject line is. Now you write that as the ad copy, and then you could put an image of yourself or whatever. You could even take a screenshot of your computer screen if you wanted to. You could do it as a video, whatever you want to do is fine, but it's just kind of short and sweet. And the whole purpose of it is to pique their curiosity. You have to make them go, ooh, I need to go check out that email. So it can't be like, hey, I just sent an email about Facebook ads, go read it. Like, womp womp, right? So you got to create some kind of juiciness to it that creates intrigue and curiosity. And you only run that ad to your email list, and you do it as an engagement ad, right? Because there's nowhere for them to go click or nothing to convert. It's just a reminder that to stay in front of them and say, hey, sent you an email, go check it out. Okay.
Yes. It's like putting a billboard in their favorite, highway back when people used to drive to work. At least, I don't drive to work anymore. So yes, but it's kind of like that, right? Just like that reminder, like, oh, go do this.
Yeah. And so what I'll do is I'll run that ad for at least 24 hours. Okay. Maybe 48. But the key is start that ad as soon as you've sent that email, right? And just run it for like 24 hours ish. Depending on the size of your email list, you could probably just spend $10, $20, whatever, the bigger your email list, the more money you need to spend. But it's a really inexpensive way, and it's worth you spending $5, $10, $20 to get more people over there opening your emails. Because I'm sure, as you know from Monica, that email open rate matters a lot.
Yes. Because it also helps deliverability and a bunch of other stuff, because it sends signals out to all the tech bots of the world that determine where your emails go, that you are a good email sender. So the more opens, the more clicks. Also, the longer somebody reads the email, depending on the link, they can calculate all those things. So how long, they can see if you scroll, all that good stuff in your email. Yep. So definitely you want to make this ad juicy enough that they're going to take the time to leave the Facebook or Instagram, app that they're in and go over to their mail app and look for your name. So,
right. Yes. So that's really important. If you're going to get them to go do that copy that you use in that ad has to really be compelling enough for them to be like, oh, I don't want to miss that. I got to go check it out. Or they might have already seen the email that morning and maybe they kind of ignored it and they didn't open it up, but then they see your ad and they're like, okay, now I got to go open it up. Right. So the key here is we're trying to be as visible as possible and use that to get them to take an action. And it's very inexpensive. Every time you send an email, you could just run it for 24, 48 hours, $5, $10, $20 at it, and see how it helps your open rates.
That is perfect. So tell us your other strategy for getting them to actually read that email that you worked your booty off on.
Yeah. So you write a fantastic email, right? Let's say you have a 20, 30% open rate. You run the other ad that I just told you about, and that gets an extra 10, 20% of people over there maybe, right? But now you still have 50, 60% of people on your list that didn't get to read that fantastic email that you wrote. So again, you're going to run an ad to your list only. That would be the audience you select. And depending on what you have them do in that email would determine if you run this as an engagement ad or a traffic ad, right? So in that email, if you're like telling them about something you have for sale and you tell them click and go to this page, then you would do this as a traffic email or traffic ad. If the email you were sending was really just to build engagement and build authority and stuff like that, you could run this as an engagement ad too. So it depends on what your goal is. But what I do is take that email that I wrote and I make that my ad. It's my ad copy. Now you'll want to make sure you read through that copy because you're not going to put like, hey, first name, at the beginning of the ad, and you're not going to sign off on it like you would. You need to make sure that in the copy, it doesn't say something like, that's why I'm sending you this email, right. So you might need to adjust the copy a little bit so that it reads well as a social media post. But basically you're running that as an ad. Again, you're going to put a picture of you or a relevant picture to what you're talking about, whatever you want to put with it. If you put any kind of image in that email, I would use the same image in the ad because it's, the relevancy of it. Mm-hmm. And again, you're either just running it as a traffic campaign because you have a link in it that you're telling people to go to, or you're just running it as an engagement campaign. But very inexpensive way. And so I'll also run that maybe for 2 to 3, 4 days, depending on how often I email my list. So it's like every time I send an email, I run the first ad for 24 hours. Then then it's like if people didn't read it within the next couple of days, I use that as like a 3 or 4 day ad so that at least it's like, okay, I made the effort in the beginning to get them to read it in my email box because I need them to open it for all the reasons you just said.
Right.
But if they didn't, then I want to meet them where they're at. And I just want them to read the freaking content. Right. So now I'm just going to put it in their face in the newsfeed. Right.
Yeah. Yes. And if you are already doing that, because that's one of the things that I advise people to do a lot is reuse your email as social media post, then would you recommend, so I know what I would do, but would you recommend boosting that or going in and making it the same type of ad? Because you can use, I don't even know if people know that they can use their content that they've posted on Facebook and Instagram as ads, with the caveat of if you're using Reels, you can't use copyrighted music. But other than that, if you do one of these, you can actually go in and use it as an ad. So,
yep. Yeah. So let's say you post it to your page, right? And you would have done that anyways, because Monica recommends that you go and you reuse your email as a social post. You've done that. Then you have 2 options. If you just want to get likes, comments, and shares, which means engagement, then you can boost the post, but you want to make sure that you select that custom audience and it be your email list. What happens when you choose to boost a post is Facebook puts all these like preset default parameters in there for you. And most of the time that's not actually, they're going to show it to cold traffic, all these kinds of things. So you want to make sure that you adjust that audience to be your list. Okay. So that, and yes, you can use, so what's nice is because you posted it to your page and now you turn that post into an ad, it's going to also help get that engagement on your page. And the more engagement you have on your page, the better your ads will do. So there's that benefit. However, if your goal is actually to get them to click and go to a page, so you want to do traffic, a boosted post is not a traffic ad. It's only an engagement ad, and there's no way to change that. So if you do want them to actually, you want it to drive traffic, then in that case, I would go into the ads manager and set it up as a traffic campaign. But at the ad level, you can still use an existing post and pull that post into there. So you're still using the social media post. It's going to put all the social proof and everything on that post, but it's being optimized for something different. So if you want to optimize for engagement, you can boost, but if you want to optimize for traffic, you need to actually set up a traffic campaign.
Yes, because Facebook's algorithms will deliver what you ask for.
So Facebook knows if you have an audience of 1 million people, Facebook knows in those 1 million people who are like the people who like stuff and they just might comment here and there, but they don't really do much more than that. I call them like the stalkers a little bit. They kind of like watch what people are doing on social media. They might click like here and there. Facebook knows who they are. They also know the people who tend to click on stuff and they'll go check things out, read blogs, stuff like that. And then they also know the people who pull out their credit card or their email address and they convert, they sign up, they buy. All of those within that same million size audience, Facebook knows what their behaviors are. So when you tell Facebook to optimize for engagement, they're going to take that sliver of people within the million and push it out to them. If you optimize for traffic, push it out to them, conversions, and on and on. So it is important for you to optimize for what you want because Facebook will serve it to people who are most likely to take that action.
Yes, I see people. That's a big question I know I get about Facebook ads. It's like, well, what should I optimize for? I was like, well, whatever you want. And they're like, well, but this says this and that. I was like, no, what you want, that Facebook will deliver what you want. Now, some, conversion ads are generally more expensive to run because, you get money in return, but
higher quality lead.
Yes. So, the ad cost can change on that, but if you ask for what you want, you will get it usually. So depending on your part of that job, which is the creative. Awesome. Okay. So this kind of piggybacks on what I've been doing with some of the training that you have provided in Power Players Club, is that I have been taking my posts that I do and some of them that do well, I'll go into the Facebook Ads Manager and go ahead and I call them my billboard posts because I do want to stay like top of mind. And I knew that they were working because you actually and a few other people were like, hey, I see you everywhere. I'm like, yes, that was the goal. So
that's the point.
Yeah. So how many ads would you suggest? Like if you want to be like having people say, hey, I see you everywhere, like how many of those kind of I know they're not technically boosted posts, but I don't know a better word for them. Like, what's the word we use for those?
Yeah. I mean, I will typically call them like a visibility ad or something like that. I don't often boost posts unless it's to a specific audience. So I don't like to use boosted posts for cold traffic. Doesn't mean it won't work, and you can definitely try it, right? But if I'm wanting conversions, I will set it up as a conversion campaign. But I know that like what you were talking about, where you're boosting the post, you're getting people to engage with that post, and then you can retarget them with a conversion campaign, and that can work really well also. But to answer what you specifically said about like staying visible and how many of those ads you should have running, a common mistake people make when using ads is they only use them for something very specific for a specific period of time, right? Maybe they have a launch coming up, or they're doing a webinar or something like that. And so it's like it's all in for the specific period of time, and then they're out. Well, what happens is in between those launches or what live webinars or other things that you're doing, you're not running ads. So now you're not visible. And if you haven't noticed, we live in a very distracted world where you are forgotten about. I mean, it'll be the biggest news in the whole wide world and everybody's talking about it. And literally within 48 hours, we've all forgotten, right?
Clubhouse much?
Yeah. So it's like, don't think that because someone saw your ad once 6 months ago, they still remember you. Okay. Because we just don't live in that society. It's nothing personal. It's not anything about you. It doesn't mean you're not great. They're just, if you're not staying visible, they will forget about you. So I do think it's important to have ads running year round. I don't care if you're only spending $5 or $10 a day. It's important to stay visible year round. And the easiest way to do that is to take the work you're already doing, like you said, Monica, with an email, you make it a post, you put some money behind that post, you can push it out. I would absolutely push it out to your warm audiences, because I believe in keeping warm audiences warm until they're ready to buy. You don't want them to forget about you. They already found you. Now you need to keep them warm. But you can also use those to attract cold audiences too, where you can build up an audience to retarget when you have a launch or a webinar or something you want to sell them, and then you can retarget them with that offer, and it will often convert at a lower cost for you.
Yes, because your Facebook pixel is a little bit like your email list, because it builds over time with people who have engaged with your posts and your things. And I don't think people in my audience necessarily realize that, like, because we focus on some other stuff, but your pixel is sort of behind the scenes working to build this list of people who have seen your name before. So that's when Adrienne's talking about a warm audience and using your pixel like that. It is worth the effort and the energy to do that. And the other reason is because, I mean, you guys know I'm a software developer. Like, I've been that way since I was 8, so there's no getting it out of me. But like the fact that like we are taught forever to not repeat ourselves, but the opposite is true in marketing. But I need a systematic way to do that, because I'm not very good at repeating myself. Like, if I were an artist, like if I were like Britney Spears and had to sing Baby One More Time for the 80 gazillionth time, like, no, I'm not built for that. Right. Like,
yeah.
And so like all the hands down to her, but like, I need a system that's going to do that for me. Like I don't want to be the live concert Britney Spears. I want to be the Spotify one, right? Where it's like on repeat and somebody can listen to it as many times as they want. So that's what Facebook ads can do. And they can amplify and leverage that time that you spent, which is something that I love, because I want everybody to work smarter and not harder. And I kind of hate that phrase, but I got to think of a new one. So awesome. And so Adrienne, there is something super, super, super special going on this month. And I want to hear more about it from you, because I know I'm excited and can't wait. So you want to share the stuff that you've been working so hard on?
Yeah. So the second annual ad camp is starting very soon on August 22nd. And this is where we kind of take the fun of summer camp that we had when we were kids, and we add Facebook ads to it, and we hang out online for a few days. And I literally take you each day, step by step, through all of the most important elements of setting up your ad. And we do it together. So I teach it, and then you're going to do it. And so by the end of the time at ad camp, you have launched an ad with great copy, great images, the right targeting, the right strategy, the right campaign setup, all that stuff in a way that's not overwhelming, right? I just give you a little bit each day. So and teach it in a way that's very easy for you to consume and put into action. We have a lot of fun. This year we introduced cabins, that we're going to be splitting people up into cabins and having some competitions where you can win prizes. And we're just trying to add as much fun back into Facebook as we can, because to me, like if I'm not having fun, there's no reason to do it. And, things have been hard the last couple of years, and I want people to love their marketing, their advertising again. And so I'm really looking forward to Ad Camp this year.
That is awesome. And as a camper from last year, I can tell you that it is going to be amazing. And is there a particular kind of ad you're setting up, or like what should they have ready for like the other side of this ad?
So if you do webinars, challenges, a lead magnet, you have an SLO like Monica talked about, you have a digital course or something like that you sell, anything where you're trying to grow an email list or get people to buy something from you in the online space, then I'm going to be showing you how to set up those campaigns. And I'm also going to teach you kind of like what the KPIs are to measure, am I actually having success? And the beauty of when you know that information is you actually know how to fix your own problems without even having to hire an expert. So I'm going to show you how to do that to make your Facebook ads more profitable. So if you're in that space at all, or have any of those types of, marketing funnels that you're using to bring leads and sales in, then you will be learning about that at Ad Camp.
That is awesome. And I realized, so I've revitalized a bunch of ads, and I have a spreadsheet that I keep up with every day. Sounds like a lot, but it's actually really fun for me because I'm a data nerd. But and it's also, so I think what's fun about it is that the numbers, the KPIs, which are key performance indicators, they tell you the story of what to do. Like you don't have to do that work if you know how to read it. And I just wanted to say that because I remember once a long time ago, when I was just a software developer, I told my CEO at the company I was at, it wasn't a very big company, it was like 100 of us. I was like, I want to get into business. And he was like, you need to learn to read P&Ls. He's like, the numbers will always tell you the story. Now, I'm not as great at reading P&Ls, but you give me a conversion, like a list of conversion numbers for a funnel, and I will tell you exactly what's wrong because the numbers will tell you stories.
Yep,
so
they do. And the other cool thing I want to throw in there that was a huge hit last year, and I wasn't going to do it this year until I heard how many people loved it, was I do an ad makeover. So I take 3 people who's not getting very good results on Facebook, and I rebuild all of those ads myself. And I test them over a 7-day period. And then on our last day of Ad Camp at closing ceremonies, I reveal the before and after of that. And I love before and afters. That's why I watch HGTV and Biggest Loser and all those things. And people loved seeing the transformation. It was so valuable to them because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm watching someone else's ads be transformed. They were learning how to do that with their own ads as well. So that was a big hit last year, and we're bringing it back this year.
Yes, I love that. And before and afters also create visual velocity, which is my term for like how fast the action happens based on the visuals. And so if you can, anytime you can do a before and after and then use that in an ad, by the way, is like great ad copy and visuals. And you're going to learn so many more great ad copy and visuals from Adrienne because she's amazing. And targeting. Like I think when, if anybody ever says like, who do you go to for ads? I'm like, Adrienne, because you know so much. And I know people ask you about targeting all the time. So what day is targeting?
Targeting is day 2, I think. It's called targeting practice. And I'm going to teach all about that because Facebook made a change. Back in February, March, they removed thousands of targeting options, especially if you're in the health and wellness, medical, dating, any type of religion or politics. They took away a lot of targeting, and a lot of people are left right now thinking like, well, what the heck do I do with this? How do I work around this? And so I'm going to be showing you some new audiences that are available to you if you're in one of those industries, especially, and have lost some of your targeting options.
Yes. And I will say I've seen some of Adrienne's secret targeting methods, and you are not going to want to miss them. And Adrienne, this sounds like it's going to be super expensive, but is it?
No, it's completely free. So it's totally free for you to sign up. There is, though, an upgrade option where you get to come to a fireside chat with me every single day and get on there and ask me questions on Zoom, just like this, how Monica and I are. So it's totally free. But if you want to spend even more time with me and get direct access, then you should definitely sign up for the VIP.
Oh, yeah, you should. Because also I've been on a lot of Q&As with Adrienne because I'm in her, in her membership, and she doesn't just answer your surface level question. Like she understands what you're really asking and like what the real problem is, which is a true sign of expertise, by the way. And so she doesn't leave it. It's like, oh, well, what targeting should I do for that? she'll tell you the immediate answer, but also expand so that you gain more knowledge. And she's just brilliant at it. And so if you can ever ask Adrienne questions, it's not even that expensive, honestly. So I don't want to spoil the price for anyone. You have to go see, but
no, way cheaper than what it would cost you for an hour of my time.
For sure. Yes. Which would always be worth it as well. So, because an hour of your time is, even if you just fix one of your ads, like, and it brings you in like one sale and you've got a webinar, like it's, this is like not even compared to that. So, well, Adrienne, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I think that a lot of people right now are worried about Facebook ads. So much stuff has changed and they're just wondering if they still work. And I just want to reassure you that just like the things that have changed in our world and we've had to make adjustments to them, there are adjustments you have to make, but people are still crushing it with Facebook ads. We just kind of have to make some changes and adjust with the times. And that's what I'm going to be sharing at AdCamp.
Yes. And AdCamp is awesome. So I will have the link somewhere around this video and you can click it and you can go sign up for free and definitely take part in the VIP because, like I said, Adrienne is a master and just even listening in on other people's questions will be incredibly helpful for you. So thank you so much, Adrienne, for your time. I really appreciate you and we'll see you guys later.
Got it. Thanks, Monica.